Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited about all the panelists today. This is a really amazing lineup of people, resources, and of course, just most of the resources coming from the community, which is what we've discovered. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of the discussion. Um, I joined Seattle Good Business Network in April with the intention of starting this Good Food Economy program. It was a little bit differently named then. And our purpose was to connect local producers with end buyers, so retailers and restaurants, all the way, to the people who are just eating the food. And we had a number of things kind of lined up. But obviously that was right when the restrictions hit. And so we ourselves pivoted pretty quickly. And most of these programs, or quite a few of these programs that you see on the screen, are kind of an evolution of us responding to what we saw as the needs of the small businesses that we represent, in small businesses all over the city and the region. We started with a Good Food Forum, which was basically, it's an online community where anybody working in food in the Puget Sound region can come and do resource and market matchmaking. So someone can come and say, I need a commercial kitchen, and someone else can come and say, I've got one for you, and do those kinds of things. And again, that was to kind of bridge this local food pipeline, the original purpose, but it's also been a really great kind of urgent matchmaking resource during kind of COVID times. One of the things that came out of that was, we had seen that there were a number of resources coming out about restaurants in particular, with the stay-at-home orders. And obviously it's really appropriate and relevant now. But one thing that was there was takeout and delivery. And those were for prepared hot foods. But one thing that we saw were a lot of restaurants were pivoting to basically all sorts of other ways: restaurant pantries, prepare at home meals, meal kits, kind of partially prepared, cooking classes, experiences, and those kinds of things, as well as community kitchens. So we created a map called Restaurants at Home. And I'm just going to take a quick second in the chat to make sure you have those links there so you can kind of come along with me. But inside the Restaurants at Home, it was basically to highlight all of those restaurants and direct people to them. So you can search through all of the different ways that people are pivoting. On the slide, if you go to the next slide, I think it's the next one. Yeah, here it is. You'll get a sense of kind of what it looks like. Here on the right, you'll see Ado, which is probably one of the really great kind of models for this. Chef Eric Rivera has done over 200 different programs since March. And so you can see that you can get pantry items and butcher items. He's created like a Puerto Rican pantry, so you can get spices and staples, as well as meats coming in from local producers. Again, meal kits and ready to heat foods. We'd love for, like I said, it's really relevant right now. So more restaurants that can kind of come in. If you follow kind of the link that I put in the chat all the way through, you can add your own restaurant. You just fill out a survey and then we'll add it to the map. And then, we'll change as we see. But one of the other big ways that people have been pivoting is community kitchens. We saw that, of course, with the Seattle Community Kitchen Collective, with led by Chef Melissa Miranda at Musang, also Chef Christy Brown at That Brown Girl Cooks, Chef Tarek Abdullah of Feed the People, and others. And we were really inspired by that, and inspired by people like at World Central Kitchen, who were basically feeding their community. And most of them were doing it by donations and out of their own pocket. And this is an amazing resource that they were providing to us. And we thought, based on the World Central Kitchen model, it would be really helpful if they were paid. Support those restaurants that are really struggling, because they're one of the hardest hits, businesses that are affected by this pandemic. And so we created Good Food Kitchens, and Good Food Kitchens is basically a program where we provide funding to those restaurants who are doing community kitchen work. We've started a pilot program where we have 5 restaurants. Those include Chef Christy, Chef Melissa, and Chef Tarek, as well as Chef Eduardo Jordan of Solare, June Baby, and Lucinda Grain Bar. And and Project Feast, which is based out in Kent, which is an amazing resource, refugee and immigrant incubator there. And they're also doing community kitchen work. So we're starting by fundraising for them and basically paying them to help pay our community. We think that there's a lot of legs in this model, and we're really looking forward to ramping up funding. And as we ramp up funding, we want to then, of course, extend this to other restaurants. So if you follow the link tree kind of through, and you're a restaurant who's interested in this, you can sign up to be a restaurant. So as we expand, we can bring you on board. If you're a community organization, you're feeding people, you can sign up as well. And so we can help match you with different restaurants. One of the fundraising campaigns that we've done is Give a Meal, which is going on in concert with Seattle Restaurant Week, which we also run. So that's basically a way that people can just go ahead and donate $10, and as little as $10, as much as you'd like, and that will go to feed someone in need. But that's part of our kind of reimagined Seattle Restaurant Week, understanding that we need to support restaurants, but that the model wasn't really serving the restaurants as well as it could have. We made some changes. We made it a month long so that you could get out there as much as possible. This is the last week, so get out there and support as much as you can. We took away all fees, all participation fees, which was a huge barrier. And it paid for what we needed to get the media coverage and things like that. But we'll look at finding ways to keep this, because it really made it accessible to so many others. And then finally, we just kind of made also the model a little open. It was a 3-course meal for $35 for dinner, or 3 courses for lunch for $20. And instead we just said, those are the price points, offer whatever you'd like. So we had seen some really creative stuff out of that. One of the great things that we did by kind of opening up Seattle Restaurant Week was to partner with Plate of Nations. And Sarah's here and going to be speaking a little bit later. I'm going to introduce her. And so I'm excited to hear more about on their end how that came about. But I think there's a screen. If you go through the slide, there's a shot of, there's the Give a Meal. There's all our great chefs. And then on the next one, shows you that you can all of these great South Seattle restaurants that are partnering with us for Seattle Restaurant Week, and you can support them through the end of the, just one more week on that. And finally, before I just jump off, that's kind of a lot about most of what we're doing right now. The other one is our Eat Local Support Hub. So that's something we've actually started since the very beginning. And we have a business support hub on Seattle Good Business Network's website, seattlegood.org. And it's got a number of these resources that you're probably going to see from a lot of these other panelists today. We're trying to, be a resource for all of you, as so many other organizations are. But one of them is our Eat Local page, and that gives you those takeout and delivery resources and directories. I saw Laura Cleese's Intentionalist in the chat box that's been updated. It was one of the first resources, so you can find that there too. Also farm direct and home delivery services. So with retailers, really struggling with a lot of demand, and especially with reduced capacity and vulnerable people not necessarily being able to come in and shop at restaurants. There's a lot of great new home delivery services that are around. And so I invite you to check that out, really connecting local producers to all of our eaters in the community. I think that's it for the most part, but just check out all those links and let me know if you have any questions about any of them. But with all of that, I want to turn basically turn the mic over. We have a couple of panelists on this talk, including, I think I'll start with Sarah, because I had mentioned Plate of Nations. Yeah, if we could switch over.
And then Sarah, go ahead and turn on your camera. Ooh, I believe Sarah is actually not with us right now. Hold on one second. Make sure you see that.
Okay.
Oh, let me bring Sarah up. Hold on one, please. And then I'll bring her slide deck up. Sarah, now can you hear us?
Yes. I've been listening all along and really appreciate Mariah's introduction. Thank you so much. And let's see, I will do a bit more of an intro of, let's see, I think what we're looking at right now is the Essential Southeast Seattle slide deck here, but let me talk a little bit about Plate of Nations and the organization I work for. So I'm Sarah Valenta. I'm the Community Business Development Manager for Homesite. We support the MLK Business Association. And one of our major events, our signature event actually with the MLK BA is the Plate of Nations. And it was designed to collectively promote independently owned restaurants in the MLK community. As you all know, immigrants from around the world settle in Southeast Seattle in the Rainier Valley and start businesses that provide cultural favorites and just create an environment of home and community in our area. And we started this event, the Plate of Nations, to embrace that, to support the restaurants in our area and to share it with the rest of the city, because I think that we are a bit of a secret, unfortunately, in Seattle. So we're trying to get our name out there a little bit more and bring in more dollars for our businesses so that they could stay afloat. And very excitingly, I think it was actually Angela that initiated growing the Plate of Nations from just the MLK community and neighborhood in Southeast Seattle to be all of Southeast Seattle, including Mount Baker, Beacon Hill, Rainier Beach. So we spread it throughout the valley and up into Beacon Hill, which is very exciting. And so we've been doing that for about 3 years. And I guess the two things that really make our event, our food event, a little bit different is that it's a community building event as well as a support your local business event. So our initial outreach attempt was for the businesses to create a plate of food that can be shared among, you know, your family and friends, and it brings people together, as well as it being an event that gets people to know the businesses more. So, but we were even, of course, when COVID happened, we had to pivot away from that and went more towards selling gift cards and getting people to do takeout and helping the businesses that we serve get online, claim their Yelp page, claim their Google page, so that they can address and talk to the community better than they were without having those pages claimed. So, and then of course we had to, like I said, pivot away from doing that in March, because that's when we usually have it. I think the week before Seattle Restaurant Week normally does their event. And I was contacted this summer by Seattle Restaurant Week to see if the Plate of Nations wanted to partner. And we were thrilled about it, and still are. Our businesses are getting customers from all over the city, which is super exciting, and not just locally. So we've been very grateful to be part of that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sarah. We're excited to have you. I can't wait to see, hear more about how it's been going, but we've definitely got a lot of coverage, and yeah, I'm excited to hear how it went actually from the restaurants themselves. Before we jump over, I think we might be a little bit over our coming to the close of our 15 minutes, but I want to give a good amount of time. Sorry, that was my bad. I probably should have gone with 5 myself, but I want to give at least 2 minutes to Chef Logan Niles, who runs Pot Pie Factory and has been doing an amazing amount of work. Obviously, her model of home delivery is really created for this moment, and so I just want to hear more about how things have been going for you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Surprisingly, this has been our best year to date. Obviously, in the beginning, we weren't expecting a pandemic. We had a confluence of great opportunities. In February, we were featured in the Seattle Times with an amazing review, which really kicked things off for us. But then the cross between COVID and that actually was a boost for us in terms of people having to stay at home, needing comfort food very, very desperately, and are being able to provide a product that's pre-cooked and frozen. So it was easy to get to them. People were stuck at home, so then they were just waiting for that delivery model to kick in for us, which worked out really well. So finding a great partner for deliveries was important. Having availability of products that met a lot of different dietary needs. Switching to halal proteins for us was really important so that we could be more inclusive to more households and more families. Making sure we had a vegan alternative, vegetarian alternatives, and just being there for the community and letting them know that we're still here, we're still producing, even though we might be a little delayed on turning that food around. Unlike a restaurant, we don't do a la minute cooking. So there's a little bit of a lag time between when people place their orders and when their order arrives. But the community has been incredibly supportive of that. They understand that we went through an incredible amount of growth very quickly. And then they really hung in for us. So it's been a nice partnership between our customers, our clients, and a growing business during a very difficult time.
Yeah, thanks, Logan. I'm so glad to hear that out of all of this, that there are some businesses doing really great work and thriving throughout it.
Yeah.
I want to switch back to Sarah really quick. I think there's a slide deck that Angela was hoping to show about the Essential Seattle website. And then we'll switch it back to Angela. Sarah, was there anything you wanted to say about this specifically? I feel like you kind of did a little bit, but.
Sorry, yes, I wasn't sure when we were going to talk about this, but we had the fortune to get together again with all of Southeast Seattle Business District advocates to create the Essential Southeast Seattle directory. And we're to allow all the community members to know which businesses are open, what time, where, and what they're offering. And we have grown this, of course, to include all of the businesses in our districts, as well as highlight and focus on building a e-commerce platform. We're working with a company called DEI to help our businesses either sell merchandise or, or have to-go orders through this platform. And it's really, really important right now that we keep using this word pivoting, but that we are able to adapt to the ever-changing needs of COVID and how we're trying to keep everybody safe and still in business. And this is one way that we've found that really is working. And we're super excited to get all of our Southeast Seattle businesses on an e-commerce platform.
Awesome. That's so exciting. I'm excited to see this growth. Thank you for that, Sarah.
Right, go fast.
Yeah, exactly.
The time.
I know. Well, with that, yeah, we are past time, so I'm going to hand this back over to Angela. And thank you all for listening.